Hello, Hillel Torah community. It's Rav Natan here to share with you some words of Torah for this week's parsha, Parshat Chayei Sara. If you look at some of the things that Avram's engaged in this week's parsha, it feels way more low-key, lax, lower stakes than a lot of the other things that he's been involved in over the last couple of parshiot. When you think about his life, journeying his whole family to Israel, then his nephew Lot is taken captive. He's bringing him back. He's fighting in this war of the 4 and 5 kings, not knowing how he's going to continue his legacy with his children, having a kid at old age, Brit Milah for himself at an old age, then the Akedah. I mean, so many big, huge, trying moments that he's had to face. And what's amazing about Avraham is that all these tests he passed. In all these moments where his values were challenged, where his belief in Hashem was challenged, he was able to stay strong and be committed to Hashem and push forward and be able to be in the right direction. And yet, this week's parsha, it's different. His wife Sara passes away, and he has to find a burial place for her. And then he has to find a wife for his son Yitzchak, and he has to direct Eliezer as to how to find that wife and figure out a way to continue Yitzchak's progeny. And if you think about it, these tests are very different. They're the tests of regular life. They're not the big, grand tests of the previous parsha. They're the things that regular people deal with, having to bury a loved one, having to think about how is a child going to get married. These are questions and tests and tasks that are just part of life. And what's amazing about Avram, and this is I think what we can learn about this week's parsha, is that even these are tests. Because, you see some Mefarshim, some Divrei Chazal, who say, oh, these are also tests of Avram to bury his wife, to send an Eliezer to find a wife for Yitzchak. And you could ask yourself, how are these tests? These are tests, really? The answer is sometimes these are even the harder tests. Because when we have a big decision to make, it's actually not as hard to think of what are my values, what do I really want, what's important in life. When we have a big, big challenge, that can be difficult to know what we want, but then we rise to it because it's a big challenge. But when it's regular everyday life, the come and go, week to week, day to day, humdrum of life, sometimes it's hard to stay centered and keep our values and be focused in those times. And that's what we can learn from Avram. That just like in the big moments of life, where he was able to be focused on Hashem, focused on his values, living according to what life was supposed to be, also in the everyday moments, also in the regular times, in the regular trials and tests, he was able to do the same thing. So my bracha to all of us is that we can take the things that we care about, our values, and really be able to live them, not just in the tough moments, in the big moments, but also in everyday life, in the way that we show up. Shabbat Shalom.